Welcome to AMSA Information Night. My name's Mike Naraki. I'm the principal of AMSA Charter School, Advanced Math and Science Academy, over in Marlborough, Mass. I am in my 13th school year, which is hard for me to believe, at the school. I actually started out as a substitute teacher, and then became a special education teacher for a very short period of time. Then got into administration as a dean of students, and then that followed up with the vice principal role, and now I'm at the principal position since 2019. So I've been principal for a little over three years, going into my fourth year very soon. It's great school. I love the school. It's obviously located in Marlborough. It's great for me because I'm actually from Marlborough. I did not attend AMSA. It was not around when I was in high school, but it's good to be from the same city. Really helps develop connections with the families. And like I always say, I've lived in Clinton before, which is one of our core towns. I know Hudson quite well. Maynard, I've become more and more familiar with over the years, and those are our four core towns, which we'll talk about a little bit later. But that's just a little bit about me. You'll meet some more folks later on from AMSA that I'll kind of introduce along the way. Just so everyone knows, you're going to hear my voice, and I don't know if that's a great thing or not, but you're going to hear from me for the bulk of this presentation tonight. I'm going to go through quite a bit, from everything from the school's mission statement and our enrollment numbers, all the way to some of the programs and the academic life of our students and the offerings that we have with our clubs and activities and all of that. You're going to hear a lot. If any questions pop up in your mind during the presentation, please feel free to type into the chat. There are people here who will be able to most likely help answer questions while I'm speaking. I'm not going to be looking at the chat while I'm speaking. That's too much for me to handle. But please feel free to enter in any questions you may have while I'm speaking. That's perfectly fine. Into the chat. We'll answer them. At the conclusion of the presentation, I'll stay on for another couple of minutes along with everybody else to answer any general questions. And I do want to let everyone know that we have our special education director here, Lynn Jarvis. Hey, Lynn. So Lynn's here. She's our special ed director. And then Kate Lee, our English language learners ELL director, she's also here tonight. And after I head out, Lynn Jarvis and Kate Lee, again, ELL director and special ed director, they are here to stay after for anyone who has specific questions about those programs. So they will be here at the conclusion of everything. I just wanted to give everybody a heads up on that. Linda Edwards is also out there. She'll introduce herself probably later on. She's our registrar. She's our admissions specialist, if you will. And she will have a slide and she will speak to everybody about the lottery process and how that all works toward the end of this presentation. All right, folks, so let's, without further ado, let's get this going. All right, so this is just a welcome slide, tells you a little bit about the school. So AMSA, again, we're the Advanced Math and Science Academy Charter School. We call ourselves AMSA, so AMSA. If you're wondering what that is, that's just how we refer to our school rather than stating the long drawn out name each and every time. So AMSA is a free public charter school. We are not a private school. We do not have tuition for our students to enter into school. I always tell this story. I still have friends of mine who to this day, for whatever reason, they forget, and they'll still ask me, hey, how much does it cost to go to that school that you work at? How much does it cost to go to AMSA? There is no tuition. It's not a private school. We are a free public charter school. Just want to throw that out there right off the bat. We like to let families know that. Our enrollment is at 966 students. That is a number that was created by the state of Massachusetts, by the Department of Education in Massachusetts. That's our cap. That's the maximum amount of seats that we have at our school. So we have 966 students among 7 grades. We have grades 6 through 12 at our school. So around 140 or so students in each grade level. This is why we have a lottery, because usually we have, last year we had over 1,000 applicants for a limited number of open positions, because when our students graduate, our 12th graders graduate, that will open up some seats, around 140 or so seats, and then maybe some more seats for other students that withdraw from the school or move on to another district or relocate. So we have a lottery. That's where the lottery comes in, and Linda Edwards will get into that later. As I mentioned, our core towns are Clinton, Maynard, Marlboro, and Hudson. But overall at the school, we come from approximately 30 different towns and cities. We do have that many represented here. And we did survey our students probably about 5 years ago now at this point, and we do have approximately 50 languages represented at the school. It's a very diverse student population, which makes it great, makes it fun place to work. It's a fun place for students to be and to be educated at, because you learn about many different backgrounds among the student body and among our staff as well. So it says here, we're a supportive learning environment. We do have high expectations here at the school, high expectations for learning and education, and also behavioral expectations are high. We'll get into that a little bit more later. It says here, we work hard and we play hard. And I think that really speaks to the fact that we do work hard in the classroom. There are high expectations, but the play hard piece, I think, refers to the great after school programs that we have. We have a very strong athletic program, very competitive, many sports that we offer, which we'll go into later. We have 61 different clubs and activities after school right now. Very high number of clubs and opportunities for students to join if they have any academic interests or just interests overall. We have many different offerings that students can choose from. It's really, you can find your spot. If you have an interest in something, we probably have that to offer in one way, shape, or form at the school. I will move on to the next slide here. Real quickly, we are a very mission-focused school. It's not just a statement that we have written on our website or on our walls that just kind of sits there. We do actually talk about our mission. We live by our mission. We try and do each and every day what our mission says that we are going to do. It's not just words. We do put this into action, and we focus on it. And all the decisions that we make at our school, we look to our mission as kind of that guiding principle of, does this align with our mission? Does everything that we're trying to do align with our mission? So our mission statement, we just broke it into bullet points here, but it mentions the celebration of knowledge. That to me means that our students and our staff members are very enthusiastic. Our teaching staff are enthusiastic. They're very content driven. They love their content. They're very knowledgeable in their content, and that provides a high level of engagement. That's what we're looking for, is a high level of engagement and enjoyment in learning for all our students to go into a classroom and feel like their teacher is well aware of the content and also very enthusiastic and passionate about it, and kind of ignite that love for learning, if you will. Children of all backgrounds and all abilities will excel in all subjects. That is outlined specifically in our mission. As I mentioned, we have around 30 different towns and cities represented. We have students coming in each and every school year from all different places at all different levels. And our goal is to figure out, where each student is at, as soon as possible, and then help them get to a level that maybe they don't even realize that they can get to. And, just making sure that we're not leaving anybody behind, and that no matter where you're at, at your educational level, when you enter here, we want everybody to walk out of here feeling like they're successful in all the subjects that they take part in. We're really focused on that. Very collaborative efforts from our staff, working with families, working with students, and working together internally as a staff to make sure that that happens. And it also mentions empowering students to succeed in the modern high-tech world. Our classrooms, especially once you get into the high school level, we really focus on, are we preparing students with the soft skills and the overall skills to be successful in college, to be successful in the workforce, in their career field? Are they able to collaborate with each other? Are they able to work as a team effectively with others? Are they able to handle themselves socially and emotionally? Are we equipping them with all the tools that they need when they walk out of here, in addition to, of course, the academics and the education that they'll receive in the classroom? Try and develop well-rounded citizens that walk across our stage at graduation. And I believe that we've done a very, very, very nice job, and we continue to focus on that area always. Our core values at the school: integrity, excellence, and community. We develop these core values in a collaborative effort with our staff members, with parents, with students, everybody. We had everybody involved, and these were the 3 core values that came out of many, many discussions and meetings and things of that nature. So we do cover these core values with our students at the beginning of each and every year. Whether they're veteran students who have been here for 6 or 7 years or brand new, we still go over these core values, what they mean, and it helps guide us in many of our conversations with students throughout the year. Whenever there's anything going on, whether a student makes a mistake or whether they're doing something great, we just always point to the core values and talk about how we can get better, and just talk about the meaning of these. So, integrity, we talk about students being truthful in their work, being truthful and honest with each other, owning mistakes, and just doing everything they can to do the right thing, always trying to do their best. And then excellence, we talk about, that's more of, the commitment to the pursuit of excellence and really giving it your all and committing fully to every activity and class that you take part in. Doesn't mean getting an A+ in every subject. It's more about that commitment level and effort level that we really talk about with our students. Community, being kind to each other, being aware of what's going on around you, and just being respectful overall of the school rules and of everybody's, personal space, and just being, very nice and kind to each other. We really do focus on that. We talk about community. We have many different opportunities for students to learn about service and leadership along their way here through our clubs and organizations, and also in the classroom. So we try and instill that feeling of community and educate students on what community is all about throughout their time here. Academic life, just real quick, if you do enter into the lottery and your child, earns a seat through the lottery, and you accept that seat and you enroll your student at AMSA, there is a math placement. There are a couple exams and some forms, and there's plenty of paperwork that you'd be filling out, and you'd be working on that with Miss Edwards. But just so everyone knows, there is a math placement exam. So again, we are not a private school. We're not an exam school where you have to pass some sort of test to get in. We are a free public school. Once a student gets in, we do administer a math placement exam just to get an initial read on the student's math leveling. Students are not locked into that level based off of one exam. There's an opportunity, if they are progressing very well during the first or second quarter of the school year, the math department, which is very data focused, they may make the decision to work with the family and place that student into a higher level. And then the flip side of that is, if a student is placed at a particular level and they're struggling after the first couple of weeks or after the first quarter of the year, there's always an opportunity, again, for the math department, math teacher, to collaborate with the family and the student and maybe make a decision to, maybe move down a level to help support the student and get them, back on track a little bit. But there, just long story short is that there is a math placement exam that the students would take in the spring, a month or so after the lottery wraps up. There's also a reading assessment. We use Lexia. All students will take that, and that's just to identify if they're help us identify if there are any students who are in need of reading support. We have a literacy coordinator at our school. Her name is Dr. Catherine Cole, and she oversees the reading program, and she's the teacher for the program as well. And we offer classes for students who may need reading support through that Lexia assessment. And then we do have a WIDA screener process, and this is based on responses to the home language survey. Every incoming family receives a home language survey. And if there's any indication that there's a language other than English that's spoken at the home, or any exposure to any other language outside of English, then that would result in students taking part in a WIDA screener. And that's similar to the reading assessment, is to identify if there are any English language learning needs. And we have a full ELL program with Kate Lee, who I mentioned is here tonight. And she has some slides at the end. She can go into this a little bit more in depth, but students will go through the screener process again to identify if there's any needs, and there would potentially be an offer based on the performance of the WIDA screener for the student to enter into the ELL support program. So academic life for our sixth graders, just checking the time. I think we're making okay time. Academic life for sixth grade. I won't go through this word by word, but as you can see, students start out with pre-algebra for math. Computer science is each and every day, which is unique, which we'll go into a little bit more. English and history also take part each and every day. All students throughout their time at AMSA will have physical education and health classes every other day for their entire time at AMSA. It's an every other day course. You'll see that the first science course that students will take is biology, and that occurs every other day. Latin is the foreign language that all students in the middle school or lower school take each year from 6th through 8th grade. That is something that's outlined in the school's charter. That is something that the school has incorporated since the inception of the school, that all middle school students grades 6 through 8 take Latin courses. When you get into high school, you have the option of continuing on with Latin, or you could choose from Spanish or French. I know our foreign language department chair has looked in the past to offer other languages. We have offered other foreign languages in the past, but for right now, it's Spanish, French, or Latin. Once students enter into 9th grade, they can choose from that. Just to give you a quick glimpse into 7th grade and how things sort of change a little bit. Math, history, and English stay each and every day. You'll see that chemistry and physics is brought into the science courses, along with biology, which continues on from 6th grade. Computer science goes to an every other day course. We introduce geometry along with our mathematics classes. And again, you'll notice art and physical education are going to be there for every other day classes throughout middle school. Grade 8, math and English each day. You'll notice that earth science is added into the science section here. And history turns into an every other day course. 8th grade is known as a challenging year. I will say that it is a challenging year. There's no doubt about it. There are a lot of courses. There are a lot of adults that the students have to answer to and meet with each and every day. But I do believe that we're obviously well aware of that, and we've developed very strong support here through the teachers themselves, our counseling department, special education department, ELL department, everyone. I just feel like we have a great level of support. We definitely are aware that 8th grade certainly can be a challenging year, but our students going through 6th and 7th, it really does prepare them for what's ahead, and it propels them, and I believe makes them the most well-prepared 9th graders in the state once they get there. We do have something called a directed study program for middle school, grades 6 through 8. Directed study is a class that takes place each and every day all throughout middle school. 45. It's a 45-minute block. Like I said, each day. It could run for some students as just a traditional study hall and an opportunity for students to, work on their homework, get caught up on some things. But one unique aspect of directed study is it offers an opportunity for students to work in small groups or maybe even one-on-one with their teachers if they're in need of any additional support or clarification on certain topics. So most of our teachers in the middle school, the vast majority of them, are free during directed study, or they run their own directed study. So just for a quick example, if I'm a 7th grader in a math class and, Miss Jarvis is my math teacher, and I'm sitting there during the lesson and I'm saying to myself, wow, I'm not following along with this today. I'm really struggling with this today. Not following along with what Miss Jarvis is talking about here. I, as a 7th grader, either Miss Jarvis might notice that and might initiate this conversation, or the student. I could initiate a conversation with my teacher and say, "Hey, Miss Jarvis, could I visit you during directed study today to go over some of this material again, because I kind of got lost during that lesson." She would say yes. She would issue me a pass right there, a directed study pass. So I would have that with me. Now, when directed study occurs, the next time it pops up, I would go to my directed study block and I would show whoever my teacher is. I'd say, "Hey, Mr. So-and-so, I need to go see Miss Jarvis. Here's my pass. I need to go see her for some math support." And they would sign off on my pass and I'd go see Miss Jarvis. So there's that opportunity as well. So there's a lot of teachers that are free during that time or available for small group work or even individualized work, depending on the day and the circumstances. So it's a great program. It's been a part of AMSA ever since AMSA opened, which was about 18 years ago now. It's a nice, long-standing traditional block of time that we have each day for our middle schoolers. There is an advisory period that we have that coincides once every 8 days with our directed study program. We do have an 8-day rotating schedule. So on day 8, there are advisory lessons during directed study time. And those are lessons that focus on character building, things of that nature, where students may discuss our core values, for example, a little more in depth, or discuss responsibility, or there might be a bullying prevention initiative or week, something like that, where the students learn a little bit about that topic and, come up with some activities and things like that with their directed study teacher. So it's a nice period. Like I said, it's mainly for character building and, just to enforce some of the key lessons and build up on our community and kind of more of a focus on our core values during that time. Next up, we're going to talk a little bit about some of our clubs and activities that we offer. Let me just minimize my screen here so I can read this. So there really are many opportunities for our students to socialize and develop new connections. Like I said, we have 61 different clubs and activities. Some of those are high school specific, some of them are middle school specific. We also have things like dances, games that students can attend, competitions, things of that nature that students can attend or be a part of. Our PTO is great. They do a very, very nice job. They actually incorporated a host family program this school year for the first time. And what that means is all of our new incoming families and students were offered the opportunity to be linked with a veteran AMSA family, a family that's been here for a while, that they could communicate with, get to know, and also ask, some of the questions around our school's policies and procedures and more information about our clubs and activities and all of that. So our PTO not only helps out with that, but they also run great events for families just to get to know each other, usually toward the beginning of the year. So if you are accepted and you do end up enrolling at AMSA, our PTO is heavily involved and they are very well run and they're very supportive of our school and our students and our families. Some examples of middle school clubs, our drama society is massive. We have a ton of students involved in that, probably close to 100 on certain occasions, certain seasons, where we have high level of drama participation. We do have a middle school math team. There's a club called Money Wizards. There's a science bowl. We have a yoga club. Leaders of Tomorrow is an option, which is a service club where you're focused on community service in the surrounding areas. Fencing, Latin club. That's just a few. You can look at our website and find plenty more information about how our clubs operate and what we offer. We do have field trips for our middle school students. Our sixth graders hiked up Mount Wachusett this year. That's a traditional trip that they take part in, which is a great opportunity for them to go through something challenging together and bond and take some nice pictures at the top of the mountain. And it's always a great time. Seventh graders had a trip to the Worcester Art Museum, which is based around our curriculum. And they usually end that day with going to Roller Kingdom or doing something fun for the second part of the day. Not that the Worcester Art Museum isn't fun, but something to kind of let loose, I guess, something more active. And then our eighth graders, their trips usually switch up a little bit, but they like to do team building, things like ropes courses or something kind of competitive or challenges that, our eighth grade advisor finds, throughout different areas of the state. They always find something fun to do. And once students get into high school, the field trips do continue. We like to keep them curriculum based, and we also like to have trips that include, fun and movement and activity, things of that nature. So, sorry, what separates our middle school from other middle schools? I think we believe that the 7-year vision for students. So if students start here in sixth grade, we're all on one campus. We have a middle school and high school on one campus. It's a tight knit community. It's not a massive campus. We're very close by each other. There are 3 buildings, but there's a lot of connectiveness and community and communication, and everybody knows each other, staff wise, and the students get to know each other. Middle school students get to even know the high school students through many different opportunities. But it's nice when students start in sixth grade and they're with us for 7 years. That's a long time where you're on the same campus. Students going from 6th to 7th to 8th and then going into high school for 9th grade. We're well aware of those students at that point. It's not like they're going into a brand new location with a brand new teaching staff that has not communicated with the middle school. So we're all together. We really think that helps. We're all together on the same campus in a nice, tight-knit community. We do have a rigorous course of study. There is high school level content being taught at our middle school level. For example, the science that I went through with biology, chemistry, physics, earth science, computer science, especially, students are really getting high school level content that's broken up very deliberately and in a very supportive and manageable manner. Of course, it's challenging, but we're there along the way to help out. But we're kind of breaking up high school content throughout middle school in a very strategic way, so that when the students get to 9th grade and they take biology, 10th grade they take chemistry, 11th grade they take physics, they're going to have a great foundation from their middle school years, because we really do cover high level content that is layered very appropriately, and we're always paying attention to that. We do have a nice partnership with our high school. There's tutoring and mentoring programs. There's athletic opportunities where every season there's opportunities for whether it's fall, winter, or spring. There are opportunities for students to take part in a sport that does not have any roster cuts. And usually in those cases, that's where, middle school students, for example, who enter into the cross country program, their captains are going to be high school students. They're going to have interactions with high school students, and it's a great way for them to get connected. And we also have a peer mediation program where our high school students are trained in very low level conflict resolution. So if there's any sort of conflict going on between 2 or more middle school students, that's low level, something that we want to de-escalate. There are opportunities for our high school students to actually conduct those mediations. And those have developed, and that's developed into a great program where there are connections. And it's great to see our high school students, juniors and seniors, working with sixth graders on problem solving. It's just great for our community, and it's a nice leadership opportunity for our high school students as well. So this slide here, this is basically just what does a day at AMSA really look like. So this is a new slide that we entered into this year because so many questions would pop up. So our campus opens up for cars to drive in and drop off their students at 7:25 a.m. First period begins at 7:55 a.m. In the eighth period, or at the end of the day, we end at 2:45. That's the same for middle school and high school. We have 8 blocks, 8 45-minute periods each day. So, you know, it's a little different. It's a little bit of an extended day, not by too much, but it's a little bit of a longer day, maybe compared to, you know, what other middle schools and high schools might look like. But that is our schedule. That's how it has been. Lunch is approximately 25 minutes between the time frame of 11:11 to 12:18. And we split up middle school lunches where all sixth graders eat together every day for first lunch at 11:11. All seventh graders eat together for second lunch. All eighth graders eat together for third lunch. So that's just a little bit about kind of the schedule for the day. Behavioral expectations. We do have high behavioral expectations at the school. We do have probably a 80-page student parent handbook that you could always read if you wish on our website, which outlines many of the policies at the school regarding academic and behavioral expectations, and all of that. But some key ones that I like to cover at these presentations involve the cell phone policy. So for middle school students, if they do have a cell phone, they are to put that directly into their locker for the day. Students in middle school cannot have their cell phone on their person. They're not to use their cell phone during school operating hours. So from the moment the first bell rings at 7:55 until 2:45, our middle school students, they do not have their phones on them. If they ever have an emergency or anything like that, they need to call somebody because they forgot their lunch or anything along those lines. We have a phone at the front office that students in the middle school use all the time to make calls if they forgot something and things of that nature. But we are very strict with the cell phone, especially in middle school. Uniform policy. We do have a school uniform or dress code policy. It has come a long way. It used to be very, very strict, especially when I first got to the school back in 2010. But I think with the collaboration between parents and students over the years, we've come to a very, very nice place. We actually haven't had to make any major changes, I would say, for the last 6 school years. We've had pretty much the same uniform expectations. All of that information can be found on our website. There's a uniform section, there's a poster that you can see. It's very straight to the point. It should be user friendly and easy to follow along with that poster and with our handbook. We have simple to read charts and ways to for us to communicate the uniform expectations. But you can definitely take a look and find more information there on our site. And then we do have a referral process through we have a dean of students for the high school and a dean of students for the middle school, and they focus on the day-to-day student activity. So if there are any attendance matters or disciplinary matters or anything like that pop up throughout the day, our deans of students handle that. And they both do a very nice job of communicating not only with the students, but with the parents and the families if there's any concerns or anything that we need to work on together. All right, AMSA operations. So transportation, right now we currently have 3 fee-based regional buses, and we have 8 Marlboro buses. There is no fee for Marlboro busing. Since we're a charter school located in Marlboro, the transportation for our Marlboro resident students, there is no charge. For regional busing, there is a fee. That information can be found on our website. The fees do adjust each and every year. We do have an operations manager named Lynn McCluskey, who oversees our transportation process, and could answer any questions anyone might have if you do enter into the lottery and you are accepted and your student is enrolled. There's plenty of information that will come out on transportation and busing at that time. The lunch program, we do have a great lunch program. We work with a company called Catering Options. We don't have a kitchen on campus. So that's why we do contract out with a catering company that comes in, and they're only about a mile away from AMSA. They come in with the food at the appropriate temperature level and all of that. And they actually serve the food to our students. You do have to order your lunches a month in advance. So it's really might be much different than what you would be expecting for middle school or high school. Again, we just want to repeat, we do not have a kitchen where food is being cooked to order or anything like that. It is a program that the families would need to take a look a month ahead at the upcoming menu and select choices for their child each day. And then that will be all generated electronically. Students show up to their lunch session, they wait in line and they receive a ticket, and they're served their lunch. It works very well. We've been doing this forever. And we have a very nice relationship with the catering company, and it's a very smooth process. We have a lunch program coordinator who does a great job. Very smooth running program. And again, much more information to come on this if your student ends up enrolling at AMSA. Health office, we have 2 full-time nurses and 1 part-time nurse. The nurse's office is actually located in our middle school or lower school building. They do a great job. It's a very big open space where they take care of everything, and they'll go anywhere they need to go if there's any sort of emergency or urgent situation. We have a whole system in place where they will get there very, very quickly if they need to, whether it's a classroom or at phys ed class or wherever. So we have a very hardworking nurse department for sure. Field trips I already talked about, so I won't go into too much detail. And then clubs, I sort of touched on that as well, on how many clubs that we have to offer. And again, this information is very available on our website right now, but also we'll have plenty of information for students when they are coming into the school brand new. So very quickly on athletics, we do have a very strong athletic program. We are a member of the MIAA, which is the major overseeing governing body of Massachusetts high school sports. Almost every high school that you've probably heard of is a part of the MIAA, vast majority. And we are part of that as well. We have 37 different teams spread throughout the program, 23 varsity programs. AMSA student athletes in 6 through 12 can participate in varying levels, as it says here. So we do have some specific middle school offerings. So we have a middle school boys basketball team, and we have middle school track and field team, middle school cross country teams. And as I mentioned, each season, whether it's, like I said, fall, winter, or spring, there is an opportunity for middle school students to join a sport that is a non-roster cut sport. So there's always an opportunity there. Since we only have one principal at the school, which is me, if we had a middle school principal, middle school students wouldn't be eligible to play JV or varsity. But since we actually only have one principal that oversees grades 6 through 12, it does give middle school students an opportunity to actually take part in JV or freshman or varsity sports potentially, if they're, at that skill level, and if that's a decision that's made by the coaching staff and, by the student to participate in the sport. Just so everyone knows. So there is a unique opportunity there for some of our middle schoolers. All right. So school counseling I think most people out there think of, we call our staff the school counseling department. Many other districts call these particular positions guidance counselors. So think of a guidance counselor, a guidance department, but we do refer to it as school counseling at AMSA. We have a very strong program here. They are great. They're involved in every aspect of student life, academic, social, emotional, and then college and career development. Once the students hit 8th, 9th grade, we really start that very preliminary college career exploration and things of that nature. And the counselors do a great job of overseeing that. They do conduct classroom lessons. They're very involved in the advisory program. They help develop the advisory program that I mentioned earlier on character building and things of that nature. But they also do small group counseling and small group sessions, individual counseling for sure. And once students get into high school, they work on the PSATs, the advanced placement AP testing. And they have junior and senior seminar classes where they do focus on college and career development. They even have freshman and sophomore seminar classes as well, which they just incorporated recently. Again, focusing on that preliminary college and career exploration. And if you have any students, if your student is on a 504 plan currently, and that continues along with them as they get into AMSA, our counselors oversee 504s, and they handle those meetings, and they handle, the intake process, the evaluation process, and things like that for all 504 plans. We're almost there, folks. Bear with me. I know you're hearing a lot of my voice, and I know I'm going through a lot of information. I hope that you're picking up. I hope I'm doing a nice job getting through some of the basics here, but I know it's a lot. So the special education department, again, another high-powered department here. And Lynn Jarvis is on the call. We're very lucky to have Lynn. She's very well experienced. She's really brought this department to an even higher level. But as you can see here, we do have an inclusion model. The majority of the IEP services are delivered in the general ed classrooms. We do have academic labs that are available, which would be determined during IEP team meetings. I would say most of our students on IEPs do have academic labs, which is sort of a smaller sort of study hall type of environment, or something that the students would maybe take part in during directed study, where they get to work directly with their special education teacher or liaison to make sure that they're, making appropriate or making effective progress and caught up on their work and their assignments. So it's a great program that the special ed department has in place there. So as you can see here, services are delivered by special education teachers, general ed teachers. We have paraprofessionals. I believe we have 5 or 6 paraprofessionals right now that work with our special education teachers to enter into classrooms and help out where necessary based on the service delivery grid and things of that nature. And again, if you have a student who's on an IEP and you have any specific questions about our special education department, Lynn Jarvis will be hanging out at the end of this presentation tonight for a few minutes for anyone who has any questions. And we'll reiterate that later, but I just wanted to remind everybody. We do have some contracted services where we have a BCBA, board certified behavior analyst. We have a PT, an OT, physical therapist, occupational therapist, and then an assistive technology specialist. Transition meetings. So Miss Jarvis likes to hold those in the spring for any incoming 6th graders who are on IEPs to determine how services will be delivered at AMSA for their first year. And again, it says here, any questions, you can contact Lynn Jarvis, and she will be here later on at the end of this presentation as well. All right, so I'm done speaking for a little while, which may be good news to some of you who may be sick of my voice at this point, but I'm going to pass it over to Miss Kate Lee, who has some slides on the ELL program.
Hi, everyone. I'm really sorry that my camera isn't working, so it's just going to be my voice tonight. But I hope everybody is really well tonight. My name is Kate Lee, and I am the ELL director and the teacher here at AMSA. So I'm really excited to let everyone know a little bit more about our English language learner program. So AMSA's mission statement, it reads that the Advanced Math and Science Academy will create an atmosphere of celebration of knowledge where children of all backgrounds and abilities excel in all subjects. So in keeping with that mission, AMSA does provide a support program for students from various multilingual backgrounds who require additional academic language supports. Our ELE program consists of three main sections. So in a student's day, we do have ELL classes. That is an every other day class. In the ELL class, it focuses on state English language proficiency standards. So those are the foundational academic language skills, as well as grade-specific academic language from the student's subject content classes. Our ELL class curriculum is tailored to match the rigor of AMSA's core content classes. And ELL classes are a supportive aid in which we help all students achieve excellence. These classes are taught by myself, and they do include only other ELL students, and that is so that the focus can be on language growth. Students who are identified ELLs also do take all their other classes in a mainstream setting. So these are known as SEI classes. So whenever a student is enrolled in any class, the teacher is going to hold what's called an SEI endorsement, which qualifies them to work with English language learners and make their specific curriculum accessible to those students. So these classes include both ELL students and non-ELL students. And the SEI endorsement is actually a current licensure requirement for all Massachusetts teachers. So every teacher is going to have it regardless. All classes with at least one ELL student in it is considered an ELL class. And a lot of the SEI supports are really helpful for every student. So they are not, so they're often used in classrooms anyway. And then the third part of the ELL program is the push-in section of it. So either myself or we do have an ELL paraprofessional, one of us will be in at least one of each ELL student's mainstream classes. And that is typically the ELA class if it fits with their schedule. There is one more slide. So I think we can go to the next slide for the identification process. So AMSA, it follows all state guidelines for the equitable identification of ELL students. And these processes, they're consistent throughout Massachusetts. So they do occur whenever a student enters into a new school district within the state. So students that are self-reported as speaking or being exposed to multiple home languages, they are administered the WIDA screener, which was touched upon quickly earlier in the presentation. And this is a standardized part of enrollment processes. This is the state-approved standardized assessment, and it determines academic English support needs. So families of identified ELL students, they're contacted directly by myself, and more information is provided in those emails. There's a lot of information that goes out in the emails for identified ELL students. This process of giving the screener is done as quickly as possible so that these supports can be started immediately. They're done within the first 2 weeks of school. And in addition, we do hold a separate informational night for ELL families in the autumn. So thank you, everyone. My email is kaylee@amsax.org, and I'll be hanging after the presentation to answer any questions. Thank you.
All right, thanks, Kate. And okay, it's Linda Edwards' turn.
Yep. Okay, so I'm Linda Edwards. I have been with AMSA for about 14 years in various capacities. I have two students who did go to AMSA, and then I did some substitute teaching for about 5 years, and I've been the registrar for about 7 years, so I kind of seen it from all sides. So admission to AMSA is through a state regulated lottery. We have, rules we have to follow. The applications are open at the moment. We are about 800 applications so far. So remember, it is a lottery, and your chances vary depending on which group you're in. You can apply online. I know Mr. Finkel put the link in the chat. You'll find it on the AMSA website. Right, so once we get all the applications in, we will close on February the 3rd. And then about 3-4 weeks later, we need to wait for information from the state, but we will run the lottery. Once the lottery's been run, we will offer seats first to siblings of current students, then siblings from the core towns, which are Clinton, Hudson, Marlborough, and Maynard. And then if there are any left, out to non-core towns. You must be a resident of Massachusetts to apply. As the last line there says, we will run the lottery by Zoom. You will all, if you have made an application, you will receive an email from me sometime late February, and it will have the information about the lottery and how to view it. And it will also give you an alias to view your child. You will never see your child's name up on the website, or when we run the lottery, you will be looking for their alias. If you are lucky enough to win a seat, if you go onto the AMSA website, you can see all the documents that you will need to provide. You will have 5 school days from when you receive your offer letter to get those in. And that's a week. And honestly, if you call, email me on day 6 and say, listen, I'm having trouble finding this document, I can get it to you in a couple of days. That's fine, but make contact with me. If you don't make contact with me, the seats will be offered again. So if you do not receive an offer the first time round, all is not lost. We continue to send out offers up until February of the next year when we run the next lottery. So if you have any questions, feel free to email me at admissions, and I will try and answer them. I don't think there's any more slides after this, so I think we can open up the chat for general questions. If you have any specific questions about ELL and special ed, just hold on to those questions, and when we get off, you can talk to Kate Lee and Lynn Jarvis about them. Okay.
Yep, so we can stay on here. I think the chat was active. I think everything's sort of been answered so far, but if we can hang out for another minute and look at this chat box here to see if anything else new pops up. I did switch to this next slide here, which has important email addresses. It says these are just some of the administrators and directors of certain programs that these are all available on our website, but please feel free to contact any of these folks if you have any questions regarding any of these topics. Yep. And thank you to I don't see anything popping up, but I do want to thank the Portuguese and Spanish interpreters. And I don't know, Mr. Finkel, if there's a way you can check in with them to see if there's any questions maybe over there, and if not, then it looks like Linda and I are probably going to head out unless there's any questions out there.
Yep.
So we'll wait for, I think Mr. Finkel needs to check in with them, and we'll wait.
Yes, there is only one lottery, and it is held that last week in February or first week in March, depending on we get all the information we have needed for that. Okay.
All right. Well, it seems like we're okay to go, Linda. If any, oh,
Sorry, I just wanted to ask one question. I know you covered when the campus opens in the morning. How late are the high school students able to stay on campus in the afternoon, if like to work on group projects in the library or cafeteria and extracurricular activities? Just
that's a great question. Dan, it's Dan, right? Dan, thank you for asking that. And you know what? You're gonna help me for our slide next presentation. We're gonna add something about this. So it's a good question. So we have a middle school and high school, two separate programs that run after school, just so everyone knows. So for 6th through 8th grade students, it's called the Homework Club. The students can stay there until 6 p.m. and that's supervised by one of our history teachers. And students would sign up for that with, the parents and guardians would sign their students up for that program. Again, that information would go out to any student, like any incoming students that have accepted a seat. So you'd learn more about this, but that runs until 6 p.m. If there's any pickups that are after 6, I think that there's some sort of like charge by the minute. I don't know off the top of my head. But it's a great program, which has pretty strong supervision for the high school students. There's a program in the media center, which used to be our library, if you will, but now it's called the media center. So high school students, same thing. It runs until 6 p.m.
okay.
Yeah.
There is a question about the lottery. So what happens with the lottery? I take all the applications, we run a lottery. If we're doing the 6th grade lottery, everybody goes through the lottery and receives a lottery number, which is, just a randomly generated number. We then take all the siblings of current students and put them in their lottery order and offer seats in that order. We then take all the core town students, which are the Marlborough, Maynard, Hudson, Clinton students. We take all those students and put them in lottery order and then just offer seats until we run out of seats. So it's not done by town. When your application comes into me, I open each one and I look at what town you're from and I put you either into core town, non-core town, or sibling. So you're in one of those groups. Okay. See if there was any other general questions up here. I think there's a couple of general special ed questions which we can leave for Lynn.
Mm-hmm.
Yep. Okay, I think we're done, Mike.
Yeah, okay. Thank you all very much.
Yeah.
Thank you for sitting through a very long, drawn-out presentation. Hopefully it offers you all some information. We've been running these for years, so it's like I have this oddly memorized in my head. So I hope it went well. Always feel free to reach out to me through email if you have any specific questions.
Yeah, and you can always email me with questions about the lottery. Okay.
Oh, something just popped up here that I might Spanish immersion program. How have others who have left the program kept up other Spanish?
We do have an after. Oh, go ahead, Mike.
No, take it away if you want. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, we do have a club which runs after school for middle school students who have been in the Spanish immersion program in Maynard. I think there are fewer participants in the last couple of years. Initially, it was quite attractive to people. But other than that, that's all that is offered for middle schools for languages because everybody is doing Latin. Do you have anything to add to that, Mike?
No, I was just going to say one of our Spanish teachers, Maria Arteaga, was with the Spanish is running the Spanish immersion club, and I know the enrollment has varied over the years. I will say that we've definitely worked with some Maynard families on our foreign language department chair has a nice sort of placement leveling assessment that it's brand new that will start this year, which will help level appropriately students who are entering into 9th grade to find the best, whether they enter into Spanish 1 or Spanish 2 honors or Spanish 2 college prep level. We have a nice assessment that our foreign language department chair researched and we'll be implementing as well, just so you know for the future there.
Okay. All right, let's let Lynn do her bit.
Okay. All right.
Okay, thank you, bye.
If we missed anything, please feel free to email me.
Do students on IEPs miss the directed study time to do homework? So students who attend the academic lab usually attend the academic lab every other day, and on the opposite days, they go to directed study. They do their homework in academic lab as well. During that time, they can get support for homework and they work on their IEP goals. Like Mike said, we have a very strong special education department. All of our classes are fully inclusive. We don't do any pullout. All services are provided within the classroom. All teaching is provided within the classroom, with the exception of the academic lab. And of course, if your student requires related services such as speech and language, OT, PT, again, those are in pull-out situations. If you should get a seat in the lottery, we will hold your transition meetings in the spring, and we can talk about how services will be delivered at AMSA. The IEP will not be changed in any shape, way, or form for the most part. We just explain how the student services will look at AMSA. If your student receives reading from special education at AMSA, that transitions over to our reading specialist, Dr. Catherine Cole. She does all the reading instruction. All right, everybody, thank you so much.